Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Anna, and every week I will be discussing a book about parenting or self-development that has changed my life. I'm a mom of 3 kids under 7, so I know how busy and crazy life can get. Yeah. And the last thing you have time or energy for is to read a book. So I hope you will find these videos helpful. And my aim is to keep them under 10 minutes. So let's get started. Today I will be discussing No Drama Discipline, which is a book that looks at the neuroscience behind a child's brain to understand how to best discipline our kids while making them feel loved. What I love most about this book is that the authors are extremely empathetic. They are parents themselves, and throughout the book they acknowledge that parenting is hard and you won't always be able to get it right. The goal is not to be the perfect parent. It doesn't exist. The goal is just to try your best and make small changes one step at a time. We often parent reactively from our subconscious mind based on how we were parented ourselves. So the key is to shift out of autopilot mode and parent more consciously. And it's never too late to make a positive change. I implemented this strategy about 2 years ago, and the changes I have seen in my 4 and 6-year-old have been incredible. And the changes I have seen in myself too, as I've shifted my mindset in a way. I'm a much calmer mom. In fact, we've added an extra kid to the mix. He's now 18 months old, and I'm a much calmer mom now with 3 kids than when I only had 2 kids. But let me be real here. It wasn't smooth sailing, and for a while there I thought, why am I doing this? It's just not working. But slowly but surely, I started seeing improvements in my kids. They started repeating the things that I was saying. Drama started dissipating much quicker. So I'm telling you now, 2 years later, it is working. You just have to be very consistent with it. So how do we achieve no drama discipline? It all starts with completely reframing how we see discipline and how we see our children. So let's start with discipline. Discipline isn't about punishment, it's about teaching. In fact, the original Latin word actually means training. Fear and punishment may work in the short term, but they don't work in the long term. Because think about it, what is the ultimate goal of parenting? We don't want our kids to blindly obey everyone and every rule their whole lives. We want them to be able to make conscious decisions, to be able to think for themselves, to become self-disciplined. And this takes practice. So let's look at our children now. We often assume that children won't do what we want them to, but in actual fact, they often can't, or at least not in this particular moment. Developmentally, they are not working from fully formed brains yet, so they are literally incapable of meeting our expectations all of the time. And when we understand why our children have tantrums, it will be much more easier to offer a compassionate response when they start screaming. Now let me show you a drawing to explain the neuroscience behind a child's brain. A child's brain is basically like a house under construction. For kids, things are a lot more black and white because they are ruled by their downstairs brain, their primitive brain, what we call their reactive brain. The upper brain is the receptive brain. It helps us make conscious decisions, control our emotions, show empathy, and so on. And this level is not developed well at birth and doesn't mature completely until about 25 years old. Recent research in neurology have identified the concept of neuroplasticity, which basically means that the brain is changeable. There is this phrase that you probably heard, neurons that fire together, wire together. This means that when we are going through an experience, neurons get activated at the same time and they get tied together, forming a chain. And the more you do something and repeat the same experience over and over again, the stronger these chains become in our brain. This is why we say practice makes perfect. So once we understand this concept, we then understand the importance of the interactions we have with our kids. And discipline won't be just about stopping a bad behavior or promoting a good one. It will also be about teaching and nurturing the connections in our kids' brain so that they are able to make better decisions and handle themselves well in the future. And the good news is, this goes for us parents too. The more we practice this way of parenting, the more connections will be made in our brain, and then it will become a habit. It will become second nature. So how do we do this in practice? The book teaches us about 5 key steps to follow. And the first step is connection. So let's start with connection. When our kids are having a tantrum or an anger outburst, our goal is to get them from a reactive state of mind to a receptive state of mind. And the best way to do this is to connect. In more technical terms, when our kids are upset, their body and brain is completely flooded with the stress hormone cortisol, and they feel completely out of control. Connection has the power to bring them to a receptive state of mind because it releases feel-good hormones, what we call oxytocin, into their brain and body, and it reduces cortisol. So that's when your kid is ready to then hear the lesson. There is this phrase in this book that really stuck to me. It's when our kids are at their worst that they need our love the most. We often get trapped into power struggles that are completely unnecessary, and empathy has the power to disarm the entire drama in minutes. And this does not mean that your child should get away with anything. It's actually the opposite. Because your kid's upstairs brain is not fully developed yet for good decision making, they need us parents to enforce external boundaries. They basically need us parents to be their upstairs brain for now. What we are talking about here is that we want to be there for our kids when they are suffering emotionally, just like we would if they fell and hurt themselves physically. The second step is validation. What I've realized with my kids is that an entire tantrum can be completely stopped if I just validate their feelings. And once I realized that all I had to do was to simply validate their feelings, it took away the stress that I was putting on myself to fix the issue for them, to stop the tantrum at all costs. Because let me put it this way. If you are upset about something and your husband comes to you and gives you all the reasons why you shouldn't be upset, it's going to have the opposite effect. It's going to make you more upset because you're not going to feel heard or understood. But if he comes and gives you a hug and tells you, I can see that you're really upset, I understand, it's going to really help you move past the emotion. And this is exactly the same for our kids. The third step is listening. We should avoid preaching or lecturing and actually listen to what our kids are saying. Because not only do we often make assumptions that are simply not true or not helpful, our goal is to also get our kids in touch with their emotions. They need to be able to listen to what their body is telling them and be able to put that into words. And if they are able to do this at home and to practice this at home, it will be so much easier for them to do this at school, for example. The third step is reflection. This is when you repeat back what your kid has told you so that he knows you understand. The fifth and final step is redirection. This is when you reinforce the rule and when you involve your children in finding solutions to avoid the problem next time. So for example, your kids have been fighting and they've been hitting each other. This is when you say, I know you know that we don't hit each other in this house. What can we do differently next time? And since I've put this into practice, I've realized it's actually pretty amazing the sort of solutions that my kids have been able to come up with. Often much better solutions than the one I had in my mind at the time. And because they've been able to come up with the solution themselves, it might actually be easier for them to implement it next time. So there you have it, the No Drama Discipline summary. So give it a try, but don't forget that the goal is not perfection. Just take it one day at a time, one moment at a time. And don't forget to show compassion to yourself in the process. If you'd like more help with this strategy, I will leave a link in the description of this video to an exercise workbook that the authors have put together. And here is a summary of what I've discussed today and all the steps of No Drama Discipline, so you can take a screenshot on your phone. If you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe to my channel and click on the bell button so you can get notified next time I upload a video. And please leave me a comment or questions you may have, and I would love suggestions of book titles you'd like me to discuss next. Thanks for watching and keep growing!